Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to continue with the audio filter work that we started last time. So, if you haven't seen the previous video, I suggest you check that out. But it's fairly programming heavy. And today we're going to actually do some sound design instead. So if that's more your cup of tea, then by all means you can jump directly to this one instead. So, as I explained last time, I'm attempting to replicate the well-known police radio or military radio, or walkie-talkie for that matter, radio effect. Because that is something that I need in my game that I'm working on. And the idea is to add the filters that we need so that we can just drop a normal spoken sound clip, like a clip of me speaking, for example, into timbre, and have the system generate the audio so that it sounds like it's being played through a radio. And last time we implemented this wave shaper filter, or didn't actually implement the filter itself, we exposed it from So Loud to the timbre editor. And just as a quick reminder, this allows us to do distortion. So if we play this audio, we can now drive this parameter through this distortion, or sorry, we can drive this filter through this parameter called distortion. Sounds something like this. I'm not going to go very very high because it raises the volume as well, so it can get quite loud. And I mentioned that we need essentially these two filters to replicate the radio sound. So I went ahead and exposed the biquad resonant filter to timbre as well. This allows us to do high pass, low pass, and band pass filters. So let me demonstrate. So we're now in low pass mode, and we can set up the amount that the filter is supposed to affect, and then we can start playing with the frequency. And you can essentially get rid of all the upper frequencies, or if we go the other way around, of course, we can do the opposite. Get rid of the bass. Fun. So these two filters now work properly, and I think we should be able to replicate the radio sound quite nicely with them. But to make it even more interesting, I went ahead and got a few sound effects that we can play around with. So first of all, we have a bunch of wave files that we can drop into the project. So we have a wave file of just radio static. Sounds like this. A somewhat uniform layer of static. Let's actually not keep playing that for very long. So this is quite long. It's like 44, I think, seconds or something. Yeah, 44. And my idea is that we will play this in the background. We will even loop it if we happen to have a line over the radio which is longer than 44 seconds. And in the game we would probably actually cut this up into, like, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds or something, and then just loop that in the background. And that should give us a reasonably nice radio static in the background, which we can then modulate a little bit. And then I have a bunch of beeps and static effects. So let's listen to some of these. They are typically very, very, very short. Something that we can add to the beginning and end of the line, essentially. these kinds of things. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and add these in and see what we can come up with. So, we can open our asset folder here in the Explorer, and we can actually just copy paste this whole folder in. And now if we click this refresh actions, we will see that Tamper has created a meta file for each of these assets. And the meta file contains some data that Tamper needs to be able to actually reference these guys. So let's make the window a bit larger, and let's create a new event for us here. So what do we call this? Radio test or something. Right. So we can immediately put some nodes in here. Right? We need a start. You don't actually always need an end, but I think we will want to have an end here as well this time around. So the next thing to think about is, okay, where do we actually get the speech that we will have? And I think it's probably easiest if I just record something directly. So let's go to Audacity and record some speech here. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Something like that. Audacity seems a little slow now that I'm recording both through OBS and Audacity, but let's see what we get. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it probably will do in this case. So let's copy the path. Not that, but here, and call this something like radio test dot web. Right, and we should have it here as well. Right, so now we can play this thing. Ooh, it's really. It's not very loud, is it? Well, we can bring up the volume, so that shouldn't be a problem. Dragging to play audio. Play audio node here. I wonder where should I put this? This should probably go somewhere here, so that we can then sort of switch out these different lines for something else. Actually, should we do that? Should we record something more? I'm just going to record something here. This is a second line of dialogue to be played back using the radio effect. Let's see what we got. This is a second line of dialogue to be played back using the radio effect. Okay, so that's probably fine. Let's export that as well, and we call that something like radio test number 2. Just that we have a couple of these things here that we can play with. So the simplest thing, of course, is just to do this. Audio source. Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. And it finishes even though we don't actually connect it here, because it is the only thing that is playing, and it has finished playing. So the event just stops. Okay, so that's fine. Now we can start to actually play with this a little more, put in some filters and things like this. So let's add in the wave shaper filter and the biquad resonant filter. Those are the two filters that we need to make this sound like we're on the radio. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and see what values I used last time I did this. Of course, we can play around, and we probably will have to play around a little bit with this to get it sounding right. But let's try something like 0.8 and frequency 1000. So what does this ground control like? To Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Right, it doesn't really... I'm not super
Ground
happy with
control
it yet.
to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
Oh, and the reason I'm not happy with it is because we need to go
Ground
to
control
high pass.
to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
All right, so now we're starting to sound like we're actually on some kind of walkie-talkie
Ground
or
control
something.
to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
And of course we can expose these filter values as parameters if we want to. So we can, for example, let's call that dist. So for distortion, so that's one. Let's do frequency as another. Frequency should go probably from like 0 to maybe 2000 or something like that. And then resonance. And I have no idea what that should go to, but let's use 10. Okay. You can see these slightly thicker lines. Here's one and here's another one. They are the axes. I usually try to stay on the right side of them because timbre sort of zooms into that place by default. So that's why I kind of look at those as well. Right, so we need a few of these. I'm gonna just copy paste them here. So this would be distortion, this would be frequency, and resonance to control what it sounds like. And I did something wrong. Yeah, obviously frequency needs to be something like 1000. Distortion should probably be at about 0.8, and resonance should be something like 3. Okay, so let's have a listen. I'm gonna save this project so if we crash we don't lose everything. Okay, still something is not good. Why is it not good? Oh, it's because I put it on the wrong ones. Yeah. Yeah. I apologize. I'm being bad at my job today. Okay, that looks better. Now we have actual values here. Okay, let's save that. And
ground
now
control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
We can even
ground
make
control
this
to
looping.
Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on. Ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah, I actually kind of like these values that we have. I don't think it gets any
Ground
better.
control
by
to Major
tweaking
Tom.
them.
Commencing countdown. Engines on. Ground control.
Okay, we don't want to loop that though. So cool. Okay, so now we have the actual sort of voice sounding roughly how we want it to sound. So what do we do then about the other sounds? Well, I briefly mentioned that some of these effects that I had gathered were to be placed before this voice and some of them after. So I think in particular we have this guy here and we have this guy here. These are both sort of sounds that work quite nicely if you just start with them. So let's move this on start here, disconnect that for now. And we don't want to play both of them, we want to play either or. So let's do a random branch, move it up here and connect that, and then we can do, we can just copy this guy, one's there and one's there, and we can hook these up. First branch plays that one, the second branch plays that one. So now if we just play this, one of them is slightly longer, you can see the duration here. So 0.24 seconds versus 0.62 seconds. And now we randomly get one of those as a sort of small intro. And then when that has, when they have finished, then we can move on.
Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
Actually, you can sort of hear a little bit of noise in the background there on my recording, which is probably not that bad. But the next thing I'm going to do anyway is bring the static in that we looked at earlier. Right, so we need to sort of what's the word I'm looking for? We need to sort of divide this thing into some different areas here. So we have sort of like the voice and its filters over here. We have the intro here. Then we play the audio for the voice. Then we have the static here, and we can connect that to it. And I think we'll want to probably actually just start playing the noise immediately and sort of keep it going in the background all through the clip.
Ground control to Major Tom.
So it's quite loud.
Ground control.
So we don't want it to be quite that
Ground
loud.
control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
And now you can see that the event never stops, because we haven't actually reached this end node yet, and this guy is still running, so it will actually keep going. It's not set to looping currently, so it will eventually end, but it will take 44 seconds for it to end. So basically what we will want to do is, once this has finished, we want to stop that. But I think we'll want to probably have a little bit of a delay, because I want the noise to be there during the outro as well. So let's put this down to something like 0.2. And when the voice has finished, so this is like play voice, you can add comments to these nodes like this. When this has finished, we begin a delay, and when the delay has finished, we stop this sound. So for example, if we set this to 1 and we now play this, 1 second after this voice has finished, the noise will stop.
Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown. Engines on.
Like so. 1 second. 1 second is way too much though, so let's undo that, bring it back down to 0.2. I think 0.2 is probably going to be all right. Then one more thing we could do to the noise is we can have a random float. And let's actually, if we disconnect this one, now we only play the voice. Sorry, not the voice, but the noise. So the static, like this, and it always sounds the same. There's no modulation or changing of the sound at all. But we can actually just do a very cheap sort of modulation of the noise by just adjusting the playback speed a little bit. Not by much. We can start something like 0.7. So between 0.7 and 1. Now if we play this, it will sound very weird. And maybe this is what you actually want the noise to sound like. But you can see that it's completely wild and crazy. It kind of goes up and down. And that's because every time this node is updated, it requests a new random value between 0.7 and 1. And we don't want that. We only want one playback speed for the current playthrough of the effect. So we can just toggle single value here. Now it will return the same random value during the entire event. So I just keep starting and stopping this event, and you can see that we get a different value, but it's the same value throughout the entire playthrough. This might actually be a little too much, so let's put that to like 0.9. You only want it to like ever so slightly be different. Okay, cool. So now we can hook back our intro and
Ground
voice.
control to Major Tom. commencing countdown, engines on. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
Okay. So far so good. Let's save that. So now then we want the outros still, and I'm sure you can almost see how we're going to do that. We're just quite simply going to get another random branch. When we finish this, we start the delay, which will stop the noise, but we can actually probably use 4 here. We'll also play the outro effects. I'm not sure all of these are necessarily all that good. And you can see that they are not normalized. This is way louder than the other ones. But yeah, it is what I have currently. And of course, copy pasting also copy pastes the comment. So let's get rid of that. Right, and we need to have one of these play nodes as well for each of these outro effects. And then we quite simply hook this up to the play pins, and when it has finished, we end it. And we probably don't need to actually have this end here, because now what happens is that the noise is stopped, and then these play to the end, and then we finish it. But it doesn't hurt to have it here. Maybe it's perhaps a little more sort of descriptive of what is happening. Okay, so let's have a listen.
Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
So we'll probably want to normalize some of these a little bit. Set that to something like 2.5. I think this should probably go up to like maybe 3, 2.5. And what do you think about this? Maybe that can be as it is.
Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
All right, so this is sort of the overall idea.
Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
So you get a slightly different version every time. And yeah, I think this works quite well, at least as a first test. So basically, what I would like to do next is to, and I should stress that this is not something I actually have support for yet, but I would like to take this thing and create a custom node out of it, so that you can quite simply feed it any voice clip, and you would give the voice clip as an input. Maybe you would have these parameters as input pins as well, and it would just play this. That way I can just use that node then as a sort of shell around any of the voices that I will want to play with the radio effect. Because obviously copy pasting this around with every event is not something that I really want to do. So that should be something to look at soon. Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I actually feed this a voice asset? Because this guy, this thing which actually has the voice now. So this is the Major Tom one, and this is the other one that we recorded. It's sort of sits right here in the middle of this flow. And you might notice that there's a new pin here called asset ref. It's new to those of you who have seen my previous videos that didn't used to be there, but asset refs have actually been around for a very long time. I just haven't really used them for anything so far. But this is a perfect place to actually test that out, and that's why I've now added them to the wave asset. So filters are added to an audio source. And so if you have a wave asset, this green output here is an audio source. You can see that this play audio wants an audio source to play. But this asset ref is really just, this is basically an integer, a number, which identifies the asset. It's not an audio source, it's just, a number into a database. So what we can do here is, we can use a toAudio source node, which currently only accepts wave asset references. This is made so that I can accept other kinds of things in the future that I want to turn into an audio source. Currently it's always wave asset references. That's perfectly fine because those are the ones that we actually have. So now we can move this out and put this here in its place. And like I just said, filters go on to audio sources, so we can actually add these filters here to this guy. So we feed this something, and it turns it into an audio source. So now we have the actual speech is now sort of outside of this guy. So now we can plug in either one of these, and we give it the asset ref this time around, not the audio source itself. So let's have a listen.
This is a second line of dialogue to be played back using the radio effect.
And now if we just want to switch it back to this
Ground
one,
control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
And if we want to actually listen listen for the difference, we can put in a signal here. On signal, play. All right, it actually needs to be playing for this.
Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
Yeah, it's a little silly because I can't send the signal when it's not actually running. But yeah, you can basically just do this instead. Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
Ground control to Major Tom, commencing countdown, engines on.
So quite a bit of difference there between the unfiltered and the filtered sound. So now this asset ref pin, this guy could really be like an input pin to this whole thing, and we could just plug it into any wave asset, and then.
This is a second line of dialogue to be played back using the radio effect.
So that's it basically. The next thing in this particular body of work would then be to start working on a system where I can basically just select these guys and click somewhere, and it would create a custom node for me and allow me to specify what I want as the input nodes and what I want as the output nodes. And then I could just drag it from this, or maybe from the node palette. I'm not actually sure. One of them. And I have my radio effect nicely compartmentalized. Right. So that's it. That's it for this time around. I'm quite proud of this actually. I think this works quite well. Remains to be seen how well it works with the voiceovers in the game. Currently I'm just using AI generated voiceovers for the dialogue in the game. And that's a whole story in itself, how to actually get nice sounding AI generated voiceovers. But adding a nice radio effect on top of them shouldn't at least make them sound worse. I think it probably makes them sound better. That's my hope, at least. So, that's it for today. Leave your comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.